2014. I'd like to make a motion, or we can go right to executive, or should I do everything else? Okay. We could all take a moment for silent reflection and prayer. All rise for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Roll call.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Here.
Councilman Belcarro.
Here.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Here.
Council President Cheslin.
Here. Like to adopt a resolution to go into executive session.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, at this point, everybody will have to leave for executive session. We'll bring you back in when we're done. Somebody make a motion to come out of executive.
Motion?
Second.
Roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
Council was in executive session for approximately 1 hour and 5 minutes. The topics of discussion were contractual regarding the police contract, personnel regarding new CFO candidates, contractual and attorney-client privilege regarding COA, and attorney-client privilege regarding a shade tree / zoning complaint. The minutes from executive session will be available at such time as the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Okay. So the first order of, new business is ordinance number 2014/11, the first reading of the bond ordinance for the purchase of the pumper fire apparatus.
Do we do comments on new business items?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, public comment. I'm sorry. Any comments? Okay, no. All right, back to ordinance number 2014-11, first reading of the bond ordinance for the purchase of the pumper fire apparatus. The name of this is bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $425,000 for acquisition of a fire truck in and by the Township of Lopatcong in the County of Warren, New Jersey, and authorize the issuance of $403,750 of notes, bonds or notes of the township for financing part of the appropriation. Betty, do you have any additional information on that?
The balance will be coming out of capital improvement fund, which is a down payment.
Okay.
And the rates the township's been getting lately are 0.71 or 0.8. So you should be getting a better rate than leasing.
Okay. The lease rate was what? 3 point.
3.5.
Can we, does anyone have any questions from council?
Yeah,
On first reading?
I do. How much did we have in capital improvements before taking the down payment out?
We will have when I transfer at 110,000.
Okay, so we will have 110,000 in capital improvements.
Some of that will be going through the South 3rd Street also.
Okay. And then once we pay for the South 3rd Street and the down payment for the fire truck, does that wipe us out of that 110?
Just about.
Okay.
I couldn't give you an exact number. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, okay.
But it makes it really low.
Okay.
And you should be able to pay it off if you appropriate, let's say 5 consecutive years. Let's say you appropriate, so much in capital to pay off this. It will cost you less in the long run than leasing.
Okay.
That's all I have. Anyone else?
Oh, I have one other thing to add to that. I talked to the fellow with Blind Tony, Absolute Fire, and he said that he's up there. The guys that drove this truck down to South Plainfield were lucky they weren't killed. It was such bad shape.
Oh, the old truck?
The old truck.
Really?
Really bad shape.
Thank goodness.
Very
nothing happened.
dangerous. He was surprised that they drove it.
lost it right now.
Yeah.
So Absolute now has the old truck. When will we
Right.
be getting possession of the new truck? Do we know? I know Chief LaFord can't be here tonight.
Just do second
We have
round.
Right.
Second,
Okay, so then,
Just 10 days, and then we advertise, and it's 20 days, the stop hold period after that.
okay,
And then we can go out for the bidding for the note
okay,
to borrow the money
And award the contract.
and then award the contract. Right?
okay.
Did Tony give us a trade-in value?
No,
Not yet.
not yet.
Okay.
So to make a motion for
Yeah, first reading.
first reading. When,
Oh, motion for first reading of the bond ordinance of 2014.
Second.
Mhm.
Councilwoman Schneider?
No on that because I said no to the purchase of the fire truck, and I would also have to say no to this ordinance.
Councilman Valcarro,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe,
Yes.
Council President Schiff.
yes. Number 2, resolution to amend the capital budget for acquisition of a fire truck. All right, so that's
That's
what
the
you
state
have to, that's the state
requirement,
requirement. To move any money out of capital,
Right,
correct?
amending your capital budget.
Okay. And how much are you moving? You're moving what, like 20,
Well, out of the capital.
21 to 50, okay. So the resolution is to move $21,250 out of capital for the
And
fire
the debt
truck.
is $403,750.
Okay. So I have a motion for that?
Motion?
Second.
Councilwoman Schneider,
No.
Councilman Valcarro,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe,
Yes.
Council President Schiff.
Yes. All right, we have one bill to pay?
Yes, I have a school payment.
Okay.
I'd like a motion.
Motion to pay the school.
How much is there?
$1,090,571. We pay monthly.
Second.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilman Valcarro,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe,
Yes.
Council President Schiff.
Yes. Okay, so what we discussed in executive, some of the actions we need to take, we have our collective bargaining agreement that we need to vote on. I don't know if you guys want to talk a little bit about that.
Yes, the collective bargaining agreement is for the police officers of Lopatcong. Their agreement expired December of 2013, and we are finally 11 months later in agreement with our bargaining. I think we worked well together, and the police officers are very receptive to Lou and I. We were the negotiators, and I think everyone all around is going to be pleased with it. So I would like to make a motion to approve the CBA for the Lopatcong Police Department.
Second.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilman Valcarro,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe,
Yes.
Council President Schiff.
Yes. So now that'll go back to them, and the contract has to be drawn up. Okay. The only other thing we have coming out that we're actually going to action is we're going to have another special meeting on, right now, we're trying for November 12th at 7 p.m. This is, sole purpose of this meeting is for council to interview the CFO candidates. We're anticipating no action will be taken, but that'll be
Interviews will be in executive.
in executive, yeah. So it'll be November 12th at 7 p.m. All right, and then, so public comment. You couldn't action, no, okay.
Joe Imhoff, 240 Aurora Street. I've got two issues to discuss. First is I wonder if there's a report about the leaf cleanup appreciation day that was offered to senior citizens and others last Saturday, how many homes were cleaned up, how many participants we had, and if after our discussion at the last meeting, there was a provision for insurance for those participating.
There was none. We actually,
None what?
no report at this point. we are covered by our insurance. We had a few homes. Some of the work was done, and they're going to continue on for at least 2 more weekends after this, which they'll be announcing.
It was my understanding in the neighborhood that some of the people from LAA were not even aware that this was taking place, and I think they sort of felt like they were being used as political pawns.
Well, they were not. The flyers went out. I don't know how the whole board knew, so.
Where'd the flyers go out to?
The flyers went out to some of the coaches. Whether or not they handed them out, I have no idea.
My second issue, the matter that this council passed a resolution at the last meeting giving a 50% discount on pool memberships and fees for the park and pavilion to all volunteers in the township. I've sort of gathered information on this and talked to personnel from Belvedere, Town of Phillipsburg, Washington Borough, and Hackettstown, and have found a general consensus among all 4 of them that offering a 50% discount to all township volunteers, especially those involved in the athletic programs, would be a financial disaster to them as far as the operation of their pool. 2 municipalities offer either free membership at their pool or a substantial discount to volunteer fire and emergency squad personnel, which with the shortage of people on both those squads in the township, that might be something you folks want to think about. They also offer fire and emergency service volunteers a discount on dog licenses. 2 of the municipalities offer absolutely no discounts at all except an early bird special. Seniors, though, in these other townships are given much better rates than Lopatcong offers. 1 is even free. For seniors, of course, how many seniors, it's just too much trouble for me to go and put my suit on, jump in the pool, come back home and change, so I don't never go. But by offering them free memberships, it sort of encourages grandma and grandpa to take the kids to the pool, give mom a day off. Grandma and grandpa, of course, love to buy hamburgers and snacks and sodas at the pool, so what you're losing on membership revenue with grandparents sort of is recovered in snack purchases. Lopatcong children who visit the pool are the same ones who are on the sports teams. Their parents, therefore, are the volunteers on the teams. It's your biggest group for pool membership, and you want to give them all 50% off.
Sorry, nothing.
No other municipality does this. For a family membership of $270, for the 75 days the pool is open, it comes down to about $3.50 a day. It's something that everybody can afford. It's a real bargain. It's probably less than the cost of chemicals in your own pool in your backyard. Makes no sense to give these people a discount. I would offer my thought and say it's nothing more than another political tactic to get votes, especially done 2 weeks before or 4 weeks before an election. This should be done after much thought. It should be done before the season opens. Maybe tying an early bird discount with a volunteer discount, but certainly just not before the election takes place.
The resolution was not for the pool. It was for the athletic fields.
It was not for the
No,
pool?
it was just for the athletic fields, for our new, not for the pool. The pool rates are set. They'll be set in like March or April.
Okay, I stand corrected. Thank you so much.
Sure. Anyone else?
You might still offer that thing to
Oh,
senior
yeah,
citizens
yeah,
to
we're
bring the
gonna
rates
review the
down
rates. Mhm.
below $75.
But not before election.
No, we do that in early spring, late winter. We do. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Any other public comment? Motion to adjourn?
Go ahead, Marla.
Marla, you can come up.
Marla Endick, 10 Byron Drive. I missed the last meeting. I don't know, I think someone was talking still about the whole tax increase and all that. I just want to let you know that I did my own analysis using the township tax final bills from 2004 to 2014. And I found it interesting that when you did the school payment, Ms. McCabe said, ouch, for the 1 million, what was it, 1,900,000?
Yes.
Okay, Bill, yeah, ouch, right, ouch. In the 10-year period that I've owned my home, the school percentage increase in that 10 years has been 12%. The municipal local tax increase on my house was 195%. So on behalf of the seniors who are being taxed out of their homes and the young families who in my developed Country Hills, on Buckley Hill, 3 houses sit empty, I give you in a collective ouch.
Okay, since that was brought up, I will, one of the things I just want to know for the seniors, we do have the Senior Freeze program that is in effect every year. So if anybody isn't already aware of that, we'll make sure we post it as regularly as we possibly can. You can freeze your taxes at a certain line and they will not go up. Yes, she does run a seminar in that. As far as, and I'm just going to go over this briefly with the 195%, the 178%, one of the important things is when we're doing math, we need to know what numbers are in the equation. In 2004 and 2003, our home values are not what they were today because there was the reevaluation. And we're talking like, for instance, mine was at 265 and now it's at 386. So that is an important part of the equation. You have to, both numbers change, not just the tax rate. So that's why it's very inflated. So for instance, if I'm doing 2003, I would have done 2,650 times the tax rate at that point, which was like 244. To do it now, I'm doing 386 times 479. There's no denying our taxes went up, but we also have to look at the value. I just want to get that across to everybody. So if you're trying to do the math, make sure you have the right numbers in that equation. And then if you do, and I know,
Isn't the home value, the assessed value factored in with all the other rates as well?
Yes.
That's
Mhm. Yes.
So using your logic, then it doesn't explain why there's this huge disparity.
No, we know why there is, but I'm just saying, I just want people to realize there's two parts of that equation. Okay, all right. No, but the number that's being used is larger than the number that was used in 2003 and 2004.
And you can probably use any 4-year period and get a similar kind of track. Sure, so we got the schools, so I just want to know that as well. They get a bad rap.
Also, some homes over a period of time, they've done some home improvements, which increase the assessment. I'm just saying, in some people's cases, you might put an addition on, might add an extra bathroom, which increases the value of the home.
Absolutely.
Right.
Mine was
So-
195% didn't include any.
Right, but your house value is definitely different. Yes, yes.
As it is when it comes to the school tax, the open space and everything else.
Right. Mhm.
I just want to make a comment on that. I know the assessed value scenario has been thrown around a whole lot, and I do have to say, as I said last meeting, the assessed value seems to have no merit in the tax increases, because when our assessed values went down, our taxes went up, and when our assessed values went way back up, our taxes still went up. So the assessed value scenario does not hold water in the reason for our taxes increasing, nor does state aid diminishing. We had a small bump in state aid that we lost. After that, it's remained flat. We have not lost anything more than 25%. So also the diminishing state aid scenario also does not hold water. So if the state aid doesn't do it and the assessed values don't do it, I believe the spending does it.
Betty, could you address the state aid? We
The
had.
state aid, you have to look over a period of time.
Mhm.
And this period of time goes back to when it first started. There's been an accumulation of $2.5 million that was withheld from Lopatcong. That's not a small bump, $2.5 million.
Okay, well, let's see. I have Betty's schedule. In 2004, we, let's see, state aid. Okay, but 2004,
And I don't have it right in front of me now, but I can get it for you.
okay, but from 2004 to 2014, this is when our taxes had increased dramatically. 2004, we had 1.259 million of state aid. 2005, we had 1.334 million. 2006, we had 1.357. 2007, a little bit lower, 1.354. 2008, 1.227. 2009, 1.192. And then 2010 is where we had a 25% decrease. It went down to $950,000, and it's remained constant since then.
So we used to get almost $1,400,000,
Yes.
and now we're getting, so, all right, so on average, we're getting, that's a decent amount of money.
Your total school budget has increased 29.23%.
Right.
2006 to 2014.
Sure, but we increased 100, and, well, the municipal portion was 253%. It's even worse than the homeowners.
2006 and 2014, the average increase over the municipal budget has been 19.89%.
From what time period?
2006 to 2014.
Of the actual budget. And then there's the money we need to raise by taxation, which unfortunately residents here in the town with this last evaluation took a very hard hit for commercial. One of the worst things you can have in your municipality is actually a shopping mall. And our shopping mall went from $88 million and it sold for $11 million. And then that was part of the,
This is why the delay on the school payment, because it has affected your cash flow.
right. So it is, that's why, I mean, in the perfect world, if your tax values go up and down and your tax rate goes along with it, you should probably be paying the same. But when you have to pay the burden for somebody else that took a very deep hit, then you're going to see that fluctuation.
That doesn't seem to be the case here because our municipal tax levy, the amount we need to be raised by taxes, went up 253% in that 10-year period. That the mall did not have anything to do with all the past prior years and the rate at which the taxes have gone up. I mean, if you look at the charts, the local municipal tax and the municipal tax levy, they're a hockey stick. Last year, we seemed to take the biggest spike up, and they follow each other. Both lines follow each other. So, those two scenarios aren't really the reason why our taxes are the way.
Well, there are other things. Construction fees are down, interest is down, so all that money was money we didn't need to raise by taxation. And again, even though in 2013, our overall budget was less than 2012 by $500,000, but we were short $1 million because of the devaluation of the town, so we had to make that up with another $500,000 in a tax increase. So it's not just, like, it'd be nice if we could just look at like two sets of numbers, but you have to factor in everything into that, because at the end of the day, it's like, what are you bringing in other revenue, in state aid, and then you have to figure out how much you need for your budget, and then that's how you figure out your actual tax rate, based on the value of your town.
Right. The other revenue, well, first off, I'd like to see the $500,000 decrease because the way
Right
we
here.
budget, the same numbers were carried over from last year.
2012 was $7,023,197. 2013 was $6,501,346.
I'm gonna have to take a look at that. Also, thank you. Our other revenues, as all those construction fees and everything, they were, in 2012, we have 2.878. In 2013, we got 2.753. And 2014, we got 2.575. It's not a huge decrease in them to make the taxes go up the excessive amounts that they did.
There's not a lot going on now compared to the heyday when they were bringing a lot of money, and when interest was at even just 5%. Now we're at 0.7 if you're lucky. Yeah. Which is it's a big effect. It's a big effect on towns. It's a big effect on corporations. But anyways, I mean.
Well, all those things happen, but yet the school levy managed to keep it in check, and so did the county level. And no one's saying that taxes can't go up. I mean, inflation is inflation, and taxes do have to go up, but not 253% in 10 years.
No. And we're doing, we're, as far as we are here, we're all doing our best that we can to keep this town running without doing excessive things. However, in the last 15 years, we did, what did we do? We bought a park. We did almost $5 million worth of improvements to that park.
Mm-hmm.
We also did infrastructure improvements, the roads, the solar, and a lot of that stuff as voters in this town, we voted on and we approved. And now we're all paying for it. And unfortunately, the bubble burst. Construction has slowed down a lot. Look at the neighborhood right behind ours. That thing is going to be empty for years.
Right, but, we had an influx of residents come to Lopatcong from 2002 to 2008, 9, 10. All those developments, including ours, went up, and the taxes were coming in, by the bucket load on all of those homes. So where all that money went, all those taxes, because, yeah, you've got more people in the town, but you're getting taxes now. That land was not being taxed appropriately
Right.
before that. You've got an influx of tax coming in, yet our taxes went up drastically.
Our value, and you got to remember, they borrowed a lot of money. We personally did not borrow that money, but they did, and now we're paying for it.
Well, but it doesn't matter where the money was spent, park, whatever, the problem is, this town's $11 million in debt,
Right.
and the same budget is being brought over year after year with the same numbers. So to say that we're trying to keep the spending down.
All these numbers look different
not.
to me. Every one of them. From 2006 to 2014, it's a different number. I'm not arguing that we don't need to do something about it, but at the same time, we are. And you know what, the councils before us, sometimes they didn't raise the tax, or they used their surplus, or maybe they shouldn't have. And yes, we came into this, and all four of us up here inherited a mess. No surplus, and a devaluation.
Well, let me ask you a question. The beautiful park that we have in town that we spent a lot of money on, and it was voted and approved by the taxpayers, is that a good thing or a bad thing for the township? Anybody can answer that question. Well,
Good when the money's good, and when it's bad, people don't like
it was paid
it.
by taxpayers, so it's a good
Yeah.
thing. So all the kids in town that love to play sports, and the parents go there and use it, so it's a good thing. It makes the township more valuable. It's a beautiful park.
It is a beautiful park.
And the thing is, if you want nice things in town, if you want to maintain the roads, you have to pay for it.
If you have a comment, come up and not shouting.
No.
Sorry.
I think maybe we're starting to mix a whole lot of different things. I think the point, and I'm not sure, Donna, was that you were trying to say just a moment ago, Ms. Chesley was asserting that we're all working very hard to keep things, tight and all that. And I think the point you were making was, if we have basically the same budget and things being carried over this year as last year, it just doesn't seem like it's.
We're not in agreement that that's the fact. Not
Okay.
looking at numbers, and every single budget is different.
Okay. All right.
Some of them.
Is the municipal budget smaller this year than last year?
No, this one's bigger because
So-
of the capital improvements.
Okay, so I think that's also her point.
Which I
though,
think
too.
she was in favor of too, so.
Yeah, but I'm-
Roads, the trucks.
Okay,
But that's capital. That
Yeah,
has
that's
nothing to do
capital,
with the
exactly.
budget. That's capital. That does not have anything to do with the line items that we spend money on here in this township.
The capital budget has everything to do with your budget.
It all comes from the taxes, Listen, everything that's spent here is based on needs. It's not, we're going to spending frenzy here. This is it's needs. It's a protected township, roads.
Excuse me. Enough, please. Are there any other comments?
And we have to say one more thing, that the council, the past 2 years, inherited the debt that we came into, okay? So we're doing the best we can, to be fair, to run this township as responsible, all right? Responsible, that's right. And listen, being responsible doesn't mean you don't spend any money. Okay, thank you.
Right, but last year was one of the biggest tax hikes we've had, and that was under your watch,
Which year, 2013 or 2014?
2013.
It was the biggest increase for your personal taxes, but our budget went down $500,000. That's the important thing to remember, is that the budget didn't go up. Your bill went up, but that's because we had less of a tax base to tax.
Okay, right, it's, right,
All right, this is
taxes
a
are
math
your
lesson. We can
taxes.
do that another time, and I'll explain it to
And
you. but-
remember, we don't have anything in surplus either. So when we do have a surplus, and I support a surplus, at least $1 million, this way, when there is an increase, you don't get these 10, 15% increases. Maybe we could keep around 2%, all right? And that's the objectives here, but we have to build a surplus.
You can't build a surplus with carrying the same budget over.
Any other comments? Could you please come up? I'm sorry.
Sure. Ken Fitzsimmons, I live 535 Goldbridge Terrace. Why did the tax base go down? I walked in late.
Because
Are people leaving the community?
no, the town was reevaluated and all our properties
By the state?
dropped.
By the state?
By the state? No,
Who reevaluated where the tax base went
assessor.
down?
The tax
So-
assessor's office.
So in other words, less taxes are being paid?
No, the value of our homes went down.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
it's just part of the equation. We need to figure out how much money we need for our budget, and then we look at what our tax base is.
Sure.
And what happened is we had many, many appeals because as my home was valued for like $450,000, which I could never in a million years sell that. And a lot of people saying, what you're charging me, what you're basing my taxes on, I could never sell my house for this. So then they had so many
So-
appeals that they redid the
So
whole
would they do a
town.
remarket appraisal? They
Yes,
lowered
throughout
it?
the whole town.
So then your taxes went down. You were paying taxes. based
Your
on
house
higher-
value
The
went
rate
down
is the same amount of
Still,
taxes,
yes.
so the rate adjusts for the value.
for the value.
Contract.
So it's, what you have to do is you have to take how much you need and what your value is. And unfortunately, like you say, in the perfect world, going up and down, it would be
My
okay.
townhouse was evaluated a couple of years ago for 290.
Right.
I paid two something for
Mhm.
it, 215. And, and the taxes were set at a certain amount, but they've always increased every
Right.
year. I'm
Because
paying
what
about
happened is-
6,000.
The residents took a very big hit for some of the commercial properties in this town because they lost, well, we may have lost a certain percentage of our value. They lost a much bigger percentage. So again,
Who lost a bigger percentage?
the commercial.
Oh.
So because like I said, in the perfect
So what
world, you think it would
The
be
commercial
okay.
is paying less taxes?
They're valued at less.
No,
They're not
lower
necessarily
rate.
paying less, but they are valued at less. So we can only, that's all part of our tax base.
Just-
We had $1 billion in a tax rateable base, and we went down to $800 million. So we lost $200 million that we could actually tax. In that year, 2012 was that the first year, or was it really 2013 that we had to deal with? 12. So then when we got to 2013, because of the devaluation, we were actually, based on our current rate, we were short $1 million. So we cut $500,000 and we raised another half. And I can tell you in that year,
Cut
we
a
came
$500,000 in taxes? You reduced it?
across the budget. Yes, we reduced our budget by,
That's income coming in, so you cut taxes and you reduce it?
no, I'm sorry, we cut the budget.
Oh,
We cut the budget by $500,000, but we were still $500,000 short to make up for what we needed, what we need to raise. So that's why you saw an increase, even though your house value went down. And I could tell you, like, our neighborhood was hit horrendously. We're talking like $2,000 more a year for some homes. So it's not, and then, it's just the whole formula. You have to take the value of the town times what you need. When we came into 2013, which is my first year in office, we had $62,000 in surplus, which is pretty much like having $20 in the bank. And
So what's in surplus now?
we were able to put some in at the end of the
We
year.
anticipate 290,000. We're hoping to have 500,000 at least at the end of this year.
Now
Which
that
you have to-
you've
well, you know-
acquired that by cutting back on
But
spending.
cutting back and anything that's extra. And then there's also the additional revenue that we can't account for that comes in throughout the year. That'll go right to surplus, particularly if, say, somebody builds a new home, a couple new homes during the year, then they will be taxed. And we didn't account for that because they didn't exist at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
We had an increase in our assessed values in 2006 by $500 million, $500 million, and our taxes still went up that year,
What year was that?
It's a revaluation.
2006.
Mm-hmm.
Taxes go up everywhere.
Doesn't matter, it went up $500 million and you still raise taxes.
Who's we? It's not us.
Well,
None of us were here.
I've been here
None of
since
us.
2002.
Right.
One of the concerns that concerns me about house values, your house, Maureen, your house, when they put this asphalt
Mm-hmm. Oh,
plant in,
and
how much tax is that going to generate?
not much.
My cul-de-sac alone, I figured out today, generates 99,000. I don't know how many are in my neighborhood. That doesn't include the smaller homes.
Yeah, I mean, our
But I've
homes
heard
are,
rumors it could be as low as 40,000 a year.
You know,
I don't
know.
think this plant is going to
I
really
know,
generate
I know.
much
And
for
we-
us except pollution, and that's a real concern.
I do have to say too, in 2013, from 2013 to 2014, our assessed values remained flat, and we still had a 30% tax
Are you
increase.
guys concerned about what the effects, long-term effects of this asphalt plant going in are?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You don't want to take it. What if your
No,
house
I
drops
know.
200,000? How are you going to get out?
I don't,
And if
I
you
can't
have
sell
an
now.
eroded tax base, people start short selling and moving out. You're going to even have less taxes coming in.
Exactly.
I really
know.
think that whole thing's got to be rethought again. Maureen, I got a question. Last
Yeah, you have to
Oh.
direct the questions to me.
Oh, I received a
Yeah.
letter just before the election last year, and it was with respect to Overlook. Many years ago, I fly internationally. I was on the road traveling, and I was watching CNN, and I watched Overlook come up on TV. Evidently, some fellow was doing a low-speed chase out of Newark. The police followed him, and my whole neighborhood was shut down.
Mhm.
Then, just prior to the election last year, I got a letter that said that there was going to be a backdoor entrance put in.
Yeah, they're trying to get an
utilizing-
emergency road coming out.
What happened with that?
We're still
They're
in
still-
progress.
yeah.
It's on the long list of expenses to be spent, to be charged, used.
Is
and
there
it's-
any type
it's
of
all-
access way to go out of there, even a dirt road or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't know if you can, there is something there, but in order for emergency vehicles, it needs to
Problem
be
was,
changed.
yeah, for emergency
Mhm.
vehicles, we need to address several issues.
Because I know my neighbors back then said they parked in different areas and had to cut through the woods. Not that that would probably happen again.
Wasn't somebody putting that road in for us for free?
No.
It
Not,
was
yes,
some-
they gave it to us for free.
They gave us.
They
the
gave it to
easement.
us for free. Yeah, and I mean, you could take a risk and drive down it even if it's an emergency, but yes, we have the
We're gonna
easement.
get an
Mhm.
easement.
Yeah. we have the
So when I
easement.
address somebody, I can't go by name.
Well, if we can,
If this is a
yeah,
public
comment,
comment,
yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
question and answer.
Oh,
They're
okay.
being nice and answering you, but,
Yeah.
so you can't say, I need you to answer this question.
Oh,
Which is better.
thank you.
But I could tell you what you
Yeah.
just said that I think you missed in your
Yeah.
explanation. is They obtained the easement. They have the
We have
right
it.
to put the road in. It's just now the town has to come up with money to actually put it in. But they did obtain the right, and they had to obtain it at that time, because that's when they were.
So
putting
what's
it
there
in.
now? If people had to go out, could they drive
No,
out through the
People
field?
couldn't go out anyway. It was
Oh.
an emergency access for fire trucks,
Yes.
and if they said cars would go out there. So they've obtained the easement, which is the right, and they had to obtain it at that particular time. I know what you were getting at,
Mhm.
but they had to obtain it then, because that's when the property owner was putting in the solar panels and doing all those things. That was the time to get that right. They've obtained that right, and at a later date, when they have the funding, they may put in a better road so fire trucks can get back there. Right now, probably can't, but they have the right. So if right now, a fire truck needed to get back there and they could get back there, they would do it. They have the right to do it. They just
Sure.
didn't pave the road, they didn't gravel it. because
Right,
that
what's the
costs
cost?
money.
Mhm.
But they obtained the right at the time when it was available for free.
Okay.
So now we have it for free, so it is ours.
See you guys later.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else? The only thing I would like to address council on is that, we're here, since 2013, you've been here since 2014, still have one more year in my term, you still have 2 years in your term. We have what we inherited, and we need to clean it up. I mean, what happened in the past, we just have to deal with it and move on. We can throw blame around to everybody who used to be up here all we want, but it's not going to get us anywhere. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Just a quick, you approved 30% tax increase last year and then another 11% this year.
30%, no,
Yes.
it was not 30%. No.
Yes, it was.
Yes,
Second
there
for
was
a
a second.
motion to adjourn.
Yes, it was. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.